This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that allows you to make a professional-looking website regardless of your experience, whether it be a blog, a store, or an online portfolio. What's up guys, my name is Mark, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going over what I think are the top 5 most likely candidates for most improved player this next season. Now before we get into the video, I want to first talk about some honorable mentions. Players that have been brought up in the conversation for the award, but I'm going to tell you why I don't have them in my top 5. Let's just jump right into it. So first off, honorable mentions to a lot of sophomores. Now, it's very common for players to make big leaps in their second years in the league, but for whatever reason, most improved player very rarely goes to second year players. The last sophomore to win it was Monte Ellis in 2007. So even though Jason Tatum, Markelle Fultz, Josh Jackson, Lauri Markkanen, and a couple others are potential candidates, I'm not going to include them on this list. Not just because they're sophomores, I could still make a case against each of them independent of their year. And I actually do have one sophomore on my list, but this is a factor that I do take into consideration just looking at the award's history. Another honorable mention has to go to Brandon Ingram. I do expect Brandon Ingram to improve a lot this next season, but I don't see the numbers improving enough for him to win MIP. His efficiency should go up now that he's playing alongside LeBron, but his per game averages probably won't increase that much. Ingram already put up 16 points per game last season, and honestly, it's hard for me to see him average more than 20 points per game this next season. I mean, even that is pretty optimistic, and that simply isn't a big enough leap statistically to be seriously considered for the award. Aaron Gordon has also been mentioned, and again, this guy already put up big numbers this past season. Most improved player is about the improvement, not about how good you are. Plus, I don't see the Magic as a team being much better than they were last year, so Gordon is also not a top 5 candidate for me. Other honorable mentions that I considered: Jamal Murray, Taurean Prince, and Julius Randle. Truthfully guys, there aren't many great candidates this year, and there have been some seasons where the most improved player didn't have all that impressive of an improvement, like when Ryan Anderson won it in 2012 and when Boris Diaw won it in 2006. I mean, they were probably the best choices, but it wasn't anything close to what CJ McCollum did 3 years ago, going from 6 points per game to 20 points per game, or even what Oladipo did last year, going from 16 to 23. All I'm saying is that I do expect this year to be a down year for the award, so don't come in expecting McCollum or Oladipo or Giannis. All right, finally now for the list. At number 5, I have David Nwaba. Now this probably comes as a surprise to many of you, and admittedly I'm going kind of dark horse here, but Nwaba is in a very good situation in Cleveland. He's a young guy that the Cavs want to develop, and although there's a good amount of players in the rotation on the wing, I also foresee the Cavs trading away many of those players. J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver, George Hill, Jordan Clarkson are all players that I think the Cavs are looking to trade away. I would actually predict that at least 2 of those 4 guys will be traded away by the deadline. That'll carve out some more space for the young guys that Cleveland actually wants to play, which are Colin Sexton, Cedi Osman, and of course, David Nwaba. Nwaba last year put up 8 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 1.5 assists on 23 minutes. If we bump the minutes per game up to about 28, 29, assuming he improves his game over the summer and specifically his shooting and scoring, I could see him putting up 14 points per game, 6 or 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and on top of that, very good defense. At number 4, I have D'Angelo Russell, Caris LeVert, and Jarrett Allen. Yes, I have 3 players at my 4 spot. If you think that's cheating, well, you're technically right, but also fuck you, it's my channel. No, I put them all here because they all play on the same team, and all 3 of them I think have a pretty good shot at most improved player. And I can't really decide which one of these 3 has the best shot. Most people, I'm guessing, would say that D'Lo clearly is the most likely to win it all, but I'm not that sure. Again, most improved player is about the margin of improvement. D'Lo averaged 15.5 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds last year. What's realistically the best case scenario for his stat line this season? 19, 6, and 6? That would be a noticeable improvement, but again, look at Caris LeVert. Caris LeVert put up 12, 4, and 4 last season. I can absolutely see Caris LeVert put up something like 16, 7, and 5 this next season. Same margin of improvement as D'Angelo Russell. Jarrett Allen. I know Jarrett Allen's a sophomore, but he's got a shockingly low amount of competition at center. He played 20 minutes per game last season, averaged about 8 and 5. This next season, he could totally play close to 30 minutes per game, put up 13 and 10 with 2 blocks per game. It's going to be interesting for the Brooklyn Nets. Number 3, Jabari Parker. Jabari Parker is a huge wild card this next season. You could even say that he signed a wild card contract, given that the contract is a lot of money, but also only for 2 years. Well, technically only a year from the Bulls' perspective, but whatever. The wild card factor is also related to Jabari's injury history. His knees are pretty messed up. They're pretty bad. But when he's healthy, he's had moments where he shows you why he was the second overall pick. People forget that 2 seasons ago, Parker put up 20 points per game and 6 rebounds per game. We've seen him put up these numbers as recent as 2017. Now, last season, he was injured, and with the Bucks offense changing a lot, it dipped his numbers down to about 12 and 5. If Parker bounces back to somewhere around 20 and 6, which I think is totally possible if he stays healthy, that's clearly enough for him to win the award. However, one other roadblock to him winning this award outside of injuries is that even if he bounces back, I think some voters will find it difficult giving him the award because it would be more of a comeback award because we've seen him do this before. Now, I personally think that just because he's only 23 years old and because he's in a new environment on a new team, I think it's fine to say that he improved, but we'll see what the NBA fan base thinks about that. Number 2, Dario Saric. I think Dario Saric just in general is a much better player than people realize. Last season, Ben Simmons kind of stole all the hype for good reason, and when he wasn't, Joel Embiid was getting all the attention because he's Joel Embiid, but Dario Saric was really, really good for Philadelphia, putting up 14.6 points per game, about 6.7 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 39% from 3 on 5 attempts per game, which, by the way, a huge improvement from the season prior where he only shot 31% from 3. And that improvement was crucial. It's crucial because Simmons really needs shooters around. And not even Simmons. Embiid wants to be inside the paint as much as he can, and Markelle Fultz is another guy that the Sixers want to play, but he can't shoot that well. Now, I'm obviously not wishing injury upon anyone, but realistically, Embiid will miss around 20 games, if anything just for rest. And whenever Embiid misses games, Dario Saric all of a sudden is the best shot creator on the Sixers. He's the best shot creator. He's not the best player, that's Ben Simmons, but he's the best shot creator. So if we're talking about stats, best case scenario, I could see Dario Saric putting up 18 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, around 3 assists per game. And if the Sixers also experience a significant increase in wins, that could also help Saric's case for most improved player. And number 1, Myles Turner. Myles Turner might be the only player on this list that shouldn't surprise anyone. He's a bit of a weird case because everyone expected him to break out last year, but he didn't. I mean, he was injured for a significant chunk of the time, and it also doesn't help that the Pacers found Domantas Sabonis to be a very, very good replacement. But also the arrival of Victor Oladipo completely changed the offense, and it also changed Myles Turner's role in that offense, or at least the role he would have gotten had the Pacers not expected Oladipo to be as good as he was. Now, I think there's still a chance that Turner does break out this season. The Pacers are a very talented team with a lot of good veterans and good young players, so in that respect, Turner might not have as many opportunities as needed to put up the kind of numbers that wins you most improved player, but I still think that Turner has so much potential that it's possible. He was basically around 13 and 7 last year, and given his talent, I can see him putting up 18 and 9. It's not a guarantee, it's not even likely, but I can totally see it. He has the athleticism, he has the skill, he fits the mold of a stretch big that is simultaneously very good defensively. He just doesn't have the greatest system around him that takes advantage of his skills. I also do take into consideration the fact that this is a contract year for him. Turner will be looking for his big deal, and his performance this next season could make him anywhere from a $12 million per year player to a $20 million per year player. But anyways, that's my list, guys. I'd love to know what you guys think about any of the players I mentioned or just the most improved player award in general down in the comments below. Now, before you go, I want to talk to you about Squarespace, the sponsor of today's video. I've been using Squarespace for almost 2 years, way before they ever contacted me about this promotion. I've used Squarespace once for a client in a marketing class, and I've also used Squarespace. I've been using Squarespace for my personal blog. Essentially, Squarespace helps you build a website. It gives you a bunch of very different, but also very good looking templates. And you can pick one depending on, first off, what you want your website to be about, and also just what type of vibe or visual aesthetic you want your website to have. The best part about Squarespace, at least in my opinion, is that it really is meant for anyone. Even if you're like me and you have no idea how to code and you're not even an especially artsy person, you can still make make a really good looking website. Go to squarespace.com right now for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your website, you can go to squarespace.com/MDJ or use my promo code MDJ for 10% off of your first purchase of a website or a domain. All right, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time with another video.